Hello everyone, I am Dr. Lakshmi Raja, working as an assistant professor from the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, Karpagam Academy of Higher Education, Coimbatore. The video lecture series is about operating system. The video lecture series contains 8 video lectures, each of around 10 to 15 minutes duration. The agenda of the lectures are: the first lecture discusses about an overview of the operating system, that is, what is an operating system and why it is required is covered in this lecture. In lecture 2, we discuss about process and threads. Basic concepts about process and threads are discussed in this lecture. In lecture 3, we will be discussing about concurrency, deadlock, why it is occurred and how it can be dealt with. In lecture 4, we will be discussing about various memory management techniques. In lecture 5, we will be discussing about various scheduling algorithms used by the operating system. In lecture 6, we will be discussing about various I/O management techniques and various disk scheduling algorithms. In lecture 7, we will be discussing about various file management techniques, and in lecture 8, we will be discussing about computer security, threats, how they are occurred and how they can be dealt with. In today's lecture, we will be discussing about the overview of an operating system. So let us see what an operating system is. An operating system is a program which acts as an interface between the user and the application program, as well as it controls the execution of various application programs. That is, it acts as an interface between the user and the hardware, or the application program and the hardware, as well as it controls the execution of various application programs. So let's see why an operating system is required. As I already told you, the application program and the hardware is interfaced by the operating system. So whenever a user wants to access a hardware or he wants to access a software, in this case let us know that the hardware combines of input devices, output devices and various storage devices. So in this case, when a user wants to access any input, output or storage device, if he wants to access it without an operating system, then he will have to write an instruction or a program for individual I/O devices. But in case of an operating system, it will do all this work and the user just has to access it. Similarly, in case of software applications, it acts as an interface between the user and the application. So the user does not have the work of writing programs for accessing instructions from each software applications. Similarly, in case of a multi-user environment or a multi-user system, this operating system works as the interface between multiple users. The 3 basic goals of an operating system is: 1. Convenience. The convenience is that whenever an operating system is present, the user is able to conveniently access the hardware and the software. For example, the Microsoft Windows is most popular operating system. This is because the user are able to very conveniently access the hardwares and softwares using Microsoft Windows. The second goal is efficiency. That is, using the operating system, the user can efficiently access all the resources. The third goal is evolution. That is, the operating system should be evolved in such a way that whenever a new system function is introduced, tested or developed, it should be done in such a way that the already existing program should not be disturbed. Now let us see various roles of an operating system. The main role of an operating system is operating system as a user computer interface. That is, the software as well as hardware appliances are shown in a hierarchical manner, but the user wants to see the hardware and software as an application oriented manner. That is, whenever the user sees the computer, he sees it as a set of applications. So the operating system masks the basic details from the user and it shows the software and hardware in such a way that he can easily use the applications and not go into the details. Now let us see some of the services provided by the operating system. The first service provided by the operating system is program development. The operating system provides various services and facilities such as editors and debuggers for the programmer to develop various programs. In this case, it is not present in the core of the operating system, but it is present along with the operating system, called as Application Program Development Tool. Another service provided by the operating system is program execution. In case a program is being executed, a lot of activities takes place in the background. For example, data and instructions have to be stored in the main memory, I/O devices and other files have to be called, many other devices have to be initialized. All these are performed by the operating system. The next service provided by the operating system is accessibility to various I/O devices. Various I/O devices have different set of instruction set and control signals in order to access them. In case an operating system is not present, then the user will have to give different set of instructions to access each and every IO devices. But in case of an operating system, a uniform accessing way is present for all the IO devices. The next service provided by the operating system is system accessibility. In case of a single user system, it is not an issue for a user to access various files. But in case of a multiple user system, each user will be accessing different set of files. In this case, the work of the operating system will be controlling the system as a whole as well as based on individual users. Moreover, unauthorized users should not access the resources and files. This is also another service of the operating system. The next service provided by the operating system is error detection and response. In case of a system which is running, definitely there will be lots of error like internal and external hardware error, software error, device malfunctioning error and so on. The operating system has to detect all these errors and find corresponding response for the same. Now that we have seen various services provided by the operating system based on role 1, let us see the second role of an operating system. Second role of an operating system is operating system as a resource manager. We all know that computer is a set of resources used for transportation, storage and development of data or processing of data. So in this case, operating system manages all these resources. The operating system manages various resources like the input devices, the output devices and the data storage devices. A part of the operating system is present in the main memory. It contains the most frequently used data of the operating system as well as the currently used data of the operating system. This is called as the nucleus or kernel of the operating system. Now let us see the next role of an operating system. The next role of an operating system is E is to evolution. However advanced our operating system may seem, it definitely needs to be evolved. Some of the reasons why it needs to be evolved is, first, the upgradation and adding of new hardwares. For example, in the earlier versions of Unix or Macintosh, the paging mechanism was not present. This was because paging hardware was not present. As soon as the paging hardware was added, paging mechanism was added into the operating system. So similarly, whenever new hardware is added or upgraded, the corresponding operating system needs to be upgraded. The second reason for evolution is addition of new services. Based on the requirements of the user as well as the requirements of the system engineer, we definitely need to add some new services to the operating system. So as a result, we need to evolve the operating system. The third reason for evolution of the operating system is fixing of faults. Whenever an operating system is present, there will be definitely some faults present in the operating system. So we need to fix it from time to time. We need to detect it and fix it from time to time. This is one of the reasons why the operating system needs to be evolved from time to time, and definitely some new faults will be coming and again we need to fix it and evolve further. Now that we have seen various services provided by the operating system as well as various roles performed by the operating system, we will be seeing how the operating system has evolved and what are the various types of an operating system. The first type of operating system is serial processing system. It was invented in 1940s to mid 1950s. In this case, there was no operating system present. The user has to directly interact with the hardware in order to perform some processing. For example, if a user had to do some processing, he will have to write the instructions in the machine language. In this case, the hardware was a console consisting of various toggle switches, display lights, various input devices, and the output devices was a printer. So this was very inconvenient for the user to write the machine language each and every time he wanted to process some information. The next type was simple batch system. In this case, the operating system was introduced. It was invented in around 1950s by the IBM. This was used for the maximum utilization of the CPU. Here, a new software called as a monitor was added. All the jobs were given sequentially to the monitor, which submitted the jobs to the processor through batches. The next is multiprogram batch system. IO devices are very slow as compared to the processor. So in order to increase the processor utilization, multiprogram batch system is being used. In case of multiprogram batch system, multiprogramming and multitasking is being used by the operating system. For this, memory management technique as well as scheduling techniques are being used. The next type is time sharing systems. The user needs to directly access the computer or the system. In this case, time sharing is used. In case of time sharing, the processor is being divided among various multiple users, and the multiple users are controlled by the operating system. Now let us see some of the properties of an operating system. The first property of an operating system is batch processing. Batch processing is a technique in which the operating system combines the process and data into a single unit called as batch. In this, the operating system does the following steps. The first, the operating system combines the processes, controls, commands and the data into a single unit called as a batch, and then this data is stored in the main memory. N number of such batches or jobs are stored in the main memory and executed sequentially. Once the corresponding job or batch is being executed, then the result is given for further processing or printing, and that particular memory is freed. The next property of operating system is multitasking. Multitasking is the process when multiple jobs are performed by the CPU simultaneously while switching between them. The switching is so fast that a user can interact with each program while the program is running. One of the examples of multitasking is what we do in our day-to-day life with our laptop or our system. Whenever we are working on a laptop, definitely some music or YouTube or something will be running in the background. At the same time, we will be opening some or 2 or 3 tabs in various browsers. At the same time, we will be working on some files, whether it is a text or a Excel and so on. At the same time, some games or some other files will be downloaded. The operating system will be taking care of all these functions at the same time. This is called as multitask. The next property of the operating system is multiprogramming. Sharing the processor when 2 or more programs reside in the memory at the same time is called as multiprogramming. Multiprogramming assumes a single shared processor. The multiprogramming gives more CPU utilization because jobs are organized in such a way that the CPU will be executing at least one job at a time. Now let's see another property of an operating system, which is interactivity. Interactivity is the ability of the user to interact with the system. The operating system performs the following activities. It gives an interface for the user to interact with the system. Moreover, it manages the input device in such a way that the user can give the input to the system. Similarly, the output device is also managed by the operating system so that the output can be given to the user. And then finally, in case of a multi-user environment, each users can interact with each other under the control of the operating system. Thus, we have come to the end of the session. Hope you all understood the session. In this session, we have discussed about an overview of an operating system. In the coming session, we will be discussing about process and threads. Thank you.